4.8 right now. Tarun Kataria is with us. Tarun, thanks very much for your time. CEO India, Religare Capital Markets. Prashant this side, good to have you back on the show.
Thanks, Prashant. Good to be here.
So, near-term markets have been a little all over the place, very strong recovery. But how do you expect the medium term to pan out now that the RBI has not done anything? I mean, they've sort of not even touched the CRR. That was the consensus expectation, that there'd be a 25 basis point cut, nothing. Medium term, what do you think markets do?
I think there's a lot to be constructive about, Prashant. Whether you look at sort of the global situation, whether you look at China, whether you look at US, and I think in India in particular, if you sort of heard the reading this morning, the very strong sense is that inflation's on a path to sort of going lower from here, which gives the RBI room to cut. So now whether it's January or March, our own sense is that there will be a cut in Q1 calendar next year, which to my mind sets the stage for another leg up to this market. And if you believe as we do that we're sort of close to the end or the bottom of the earnings cycle, whether it's this quarter or the next quarter, you can expect move up nicely through much of next year, including Q1 next year.
And what do you think is are the biggest tailwinds right now? Is it just purely money? FII money?
Well,
That's
now
it?
it's money.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, the last few months clearly has been the liquidity story. I guess tempered a little bit by the sense that rate cuts are around the corner. And when I say liquidity, obviously we're talking global liquidity. If you look at global macro, I think what you'll find this year, and this is a view that I've had for a while, that China will frankly surprise on the upside in terms of what they deliver in GDP growth. So if you have China as a catalyst for global growth, I think that's a huge plus, which really hasn't happened. Which means China, which has underperformed the equity markets in the last 5 years, also looks set to have a pretty strong run. The US, obviously, we've been reading a lot about, although depending on which PMI data you look at, it's sort of mixed, but the trend is clearly in the right direction. Even Europe, quite frankly, while PMI data are well below 50, at least they're sort of trending in the right direction. So you have a crack at you've got coordinated global growth coming in 2013, which gives you a decent backdrop for money flowing into emerging market equities. And it's not that liquidity is about to dry up either. So you might have a confluence of a better macro picture, and in India and globally, driven by liquidity. So you have the makings of a decent market next year.
$22 billion has come in, Tarun. I mean, I know you look at global markets as well. Emerging markets have got about $45 billion YTD. India has got 22. And if you thought coming into 2012, a lot of emerging market funds were underweight, I think all of that has gotten corrected. So shouldn't this positioning and very strong outperformance act against the market here?
No, I think, no. I mean, it's a good question to ask, but I don't think so, because if you look at emerging markets generally, I think Brazil is looking, tired, or at least look at BRICS for a minute. Russia has its own set of problems, so I don't think you see a gush of money into either of those two markets. South Africa's got its share of problems, so I think the money will continue to flow into India. It'll restart flowing into China. China has actually in the last few days has had a tremendous run. Indonesia kind of looks interesting, but it's a small geography. So I would say that India will be an attractive market next year, as will China. So you might have a little bit sort of more going to China next year, but I don't think India dries up at all.
What about the China? You started with that, right? China's looking up. It's up 10% over the last 1 month. Stock indices.
Yeah.
That's a large enough market which can more than soak up all the liquidity that is coming its way, or might come its way, right?
Yeah, but you don't want to be in a Chinese basket with 70 or 80% of your allocation to emerging markets either.
Right.
So it's got to be a balance. And I think India, as I say, if you have rate cuts, if you have reforms, and there's certainly a sense coming out of New Delhi that they are hell-bent on doing something, which I think, by the way, is a great thing. They've made some great start. I think what the next sort of expending of energy needs to be on doing stuff domestically, which again will cause its own inflow of FI flows. But domestically, there's a lot more to be done. You'll have a rate cut, as I say, in Q1 calendar next year. earning cycles probably at the bottom or close to the bottom, you would expect a decent market from here.
Tarun, most people are nowadays tactically bullish. Nobody is structurally bullish about the market. It's become, it's probably the most overused word nowadays, tactically, right? It basically conveys the sense that, ride on till it lasts and try and get off before others try and get off. It's almost unreal. How do you explain this?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Listen, it's driven by liquidity. Money chases, sort of where things are expected to go up in a hurry. So I think you've got a lot of that. I think the point that you're making, Prashant, which I think is very valid, is beyond that what. We've got a host of structural problems, which, to my mind, at least there is an intent to address, but it hasn't been addressed, whether it's land, whether it's power, whether it's resources, whether it's infrastructure. So the reason why inflation came in the first place, which was supply side constraints, to my mind at least, hasn't been dealt with. So it's possible that once this euphoria of rate cuts, etc., passes, we'll have a time to pause. But I think for now people are generally very buoyant. But I think you're right, we need to do a lot more because capital markets flows sort of, you can put a lot of stuff under the carpet, but structurally we've got a lot of issues which we need to address. You're spot on.
So what is your sense as things stand right now? What beyond this tactical rally? And where do you think the tactical rally stalls and we start looking for direction and answers? At what point? At what market level maybe?
I think you can have at least another 10-15% up from here, which is not really difficult. But I think the other point that you're making, and I think we'll see a lot of, there will be plenty of volatility along the way, right? So you've got Europe for now that seems to have, quietened down, but Greece has its share of problems, France has its share of problems, Spain has its share of problems. So India has structural problems, the US as well, PMI data will be all over the place. So there will be volatility along the way, but for the next 3 to 6 months, certainly the next 4 months, you could expect a decent market from here.
Tarun, there were, I don't know if you've read these reports, and these might be very sporadic and too far between, not a real trend, but a lot of companies, and that list is led by General Electric, is moving a fair bit of its manufacturing back to the US. It's done so with facilities in China and a couple of other low-cost locations. It's sort of starting to operationalize one of its largest manufacturing facilities back in the US once again. After decades of that facility being sort of almost locked down. What implications does that have? Because at the margin you hear some talking about a manufacturing-led boom in the US over the next 5 years, 6 years or so. Are these early signs, or are we making too much of it? It's just a fad, it'll pass, outsourcing is here to stay.
No, listen, ultimately, Prashant, it's all about a balance, right? And all of this stuff is driven by the currency. And as we saw now going back maybe 15 or 20 years ago, when the auto guys, when the dollar was cheap and the auto guys set up in the US, you're seeing a bit of that. The US dollar has weakened considerably across, certainly as crosses with many currencies. So the US becomes a manufacturing base. Labor prices have not really gone up. Health and sort of pension benefits are all being controlled massively in the US because that's actually part of the problem. So on the margin, you will see, manufacturing move back to the US, which happens in waves of 10 or 15 years based on strength or weakness in currencies. That ultimately drives it. China, from all that we read, is getting increasingly more expensive to manufacture stuff in. India, I'm not sure we've got our manufacturing act together yet. Where else will you set up a plant? You'll do Vietnam, maybe you'll do Burma, Laos someday, but they don't really have that infrastructure yet. So the natural thing is to move back to the US, especially when you're supported by a weaker currency that can be used as an export destination. So I think that's really what you're seeing. Is there going to be this massive rush back to the US? Probably not.
All right, got that. Let's get back to the market here, Tarun. You said reform and rates should be big tailwinds. Do you think politics would be a big headwind? And if you think it not, why? I mean, 2014,
unfortunately.
2014 is elections.
Yeah, I mean, politics has been a headwind pretty much in every geography around the planet, and including India. But I think, ultimately we'll sort of figure out if there is enough momentum, and I'm not a political commentator, if there's enough economic momentum over the next 6 to 8 months, there's no reason why something won't be called towards the end of the year. So I think you've got a 12-month sort of window to, have people feel better, get the wealth effect going. But on balance, politics has been a huge inhibitor to growth in the US, to growth in Europe, growth in India.
No, my point is, would that cap your expectations for markets to perform well, starting February when the budget would be presented?
Well, the budget will come down to the amount of stops that get given out in anticipation of an election at the end of the year. If there's a sense that the rupee will come under increasing pressure, if there's a sense that the borrowing program goes out of whack, all bets are off. It's a very different dynamic. In the absence of that, I think, and at least from what we're seeing, the sense is let's make the difficult decisions because ultimately it's good for flows, which will be good for the economy. I would like to think that they'll be sensible in the budget. The pressure on the rupee, the pressure on deficits come down. In theory, that could be your next leg of tailwind, but I can't predict that at the moment.
The other sort of, oft-repeated phrase towards the end of the year, not just this year, but the last couple of years has been, it's going to be a very stock-specific market, the next one. But the last couple of years, if they've shown us anything, is that broad, areas of the market do very well, and very broad and large corners of the market underperform hugely. So it's been IT, pharma, auto, consumers, which have done very well. Power, utilities, real estate, etc. has done very badly. You think differently about 2013?
I think that'll be broadly the same, right? I mean, I think the sector that'll do particularly well probably next year will be FIG. So whether it's banks, private sector, public sector, NBFCs, I think that sector will do particularly well. I guess real estate should see a bit of a revival. Infrastructure, I'm not so convinced about. Media probably does a little bit better. Consumer discretionary probably has a decent run. The FMCG stocks, I think, are pretty overvalued at the moment. But I think it'll be, and as always, within sectors, you have an M&M that does particularly well. You'll have a Godrej that does particularly well. But I think the sectors will largely be the same, with the exception of FIG, which has also done well this year, will continue to do well.
Got that. Last question, Tarun. How's deal making at Religare? And of course, bringing companies to the market, primary, secondary, a fair bit of activity. I guess it's just starting to pick up. First quarter, calendar 13, we'll see a lot more.
I would like to think so. I mean, we're sort of top 5 now in QIPs for the year. For a 2-year-old firm, that's not a bad outcome. We're the number 2 on the SGX for Asian firms, not just Indian firms. So we've got sort of, that in the bag. It's been a good year. We're a new firm. We've done well, but like everybody else, we've been very aggressive with sort of the new architecture for our business, which has been under pressure. So we've had our share of deals. We will have our share of deals next year, and I would like to think, from a deal perspective, next year looks a little bit better because you won't have the first 9 months, frankly, which was a complete washout in India.
You think, stock worth $2-3 billion will hit the market first quarter 2013?
Well, yeah, it depends on what the disinvestment program looks like. But if that does pick up, and I think if that's sensibly done, to see that is not out of the realm.
Tarun, thanks very much for your time. Great to have you with us here, as always. Thank you. All right, let's take a quick break here, and we're going to come back in 2 minutes. Nifty is up 30 points, Sensex is up 100, so prices have kind of stalled, not running away, but very good recovery. And it's all happened in the last, 35-40 minutes or so. 5886 odd and 19341 on the Nifty and the Sensex respectively. We're back in 2, and we'll talk about a couple of stocks.